Apparently, RBN is like the only channel that thinks about strategy. Everyone is all about vibes. Take over the Democratic Party. Let's run another election. It'd be fun, man. We had fun, didn't we? And there are people to this day that still put a strategy of taking over the Democratic Party, which I admit I did believe in the strategy at a certain point.
I did too at a point.
But I'm like when you try something, it doesn't work. You're supposed to move on and try something else. There's nothing wrong with getting something wrong and then adjusting and correcting yourself. I did that. I'm sure everyone has done that. But we have seen so many examples of this strategy failing. It's literally insanity and have next to zero patience, as you guys can tell, for people who still advocate for this nonsense for the workers. So you have the Democratic Socialists in Nevada who won power. And I remember being on the Bernie campaign and being like, damn, this is a good news. This is a good story. Holy shit. The Democratic Socialists took over Nevada. And then that story became a way for social democrats and incrementalists they use that to weaponize against radical voices. I remember this clearly to this day when Force the Vote was going on, when we were trying to tell people to leave the Democratic Party. They said, we can't do that. Have you guys seen how successful they was in Nevada? We got to emulate what they did in Nevada in all 50 states. I remember them saying that to this day. Why Force the Vote? We need to invest in electoral politics so we can take over the party. So there's all these stories. This is what the reaction of the neoliberal wing was when this happened. You had the entire Democratic Party quit. There was a lot of funds that was stolen just outright. They had to create their own accounts. They were locked out of DNC accounts. People in crucial staff positions quit. Pretty much the Democratic Socialists had to start from square one, which is not necessarily a bad position to be in. But look at this here, because I'm showing this in a certain order. I almost kind of spoiled that one there. But this is from 2 weeks ago. Now, I followed this story from a distance. I didn't really cover this a lot on the show because I think covering the electoral politics of Nevada was that important. But I followed it from distance. I remember seeing people saying, oh my God, there's so much infighting going on in Nevada. See, this is why Democratic Socialists shouldn't be part of the Democratic Party, because they lead to infighting. And this is what the Marianne Williamson supporters don't know is coming. Like, if Marianne ever did start a poll challenge, people like Bernie, you're going to see Bernie playing his role here. You're going to go after her. You're going to have progressives go after her for being divisive. And that is what they did to the progressives in Nevada. So Nevada took power. The progressives in Nevada took power. And let me share this tab here. And then there were stories that followed that said, oh my God, this project is horrible. And what many stories I thought left out, like this one did, if things went bad in Nevada in the Democratic Party because the neoliberals refused to work with the Democratic Socialists. So even social democrats and Democratic Socialists, they are going too far for the Democratic Party to the point where they will tank it to Republicans. So because of this disorganization, there were candidates that were struggling being funded because the neoliberals decided to take the entire project. They decided to take the entire project, which led to an underwhelming performance in Nevada. So now the Democratic Socialists are taking blame for that. And guess who's here to play the role for that? Here's Bernie Sanders, the guy they can't get mad at. They didn't get mad at us, though. Sanders supporters, and this is Politico, because there's a story, you can find many like this. Sanders supporters took over Nevada Democratic Party. It's not going well. The senator, this comes from Bernie, let it be known he's unhappy with the work of his followers. There's Bernie doing it again, throwing his supporters under the bus. These are not even RBN leftists here. These are not even like people like Nick Brana, who called out Bernie Sanders for war support, and then Bernie called him a paid agent of Russia. These are people who still to this day worship Bernie Sanders, who were following the Bernie Sanders playbook of having an oppositional takeover of the party in Nevada. So you had liberals that complained because the Democratic Socialists were too divisive, and guess who agreed with the liberals? Bernie Sanders. But ask yourself, why are they mad at RBN instead of this guy? This is Bernie Sanders rebuking you. You guys see that? I don't know if you guys see it. But then the senator lets it be known that he's unhappy with the work of his followers. Now, why didn't Bernie do what I did? See, I'm not even aligned with these Democratic Socialists, but I explained to you the context. You had this story where the entire staff of Nevada Democratic Party quits. And everything that led up to this next story I'm going to share to you. Where you had liberals, the Harry Reid faction in Nevada, who was rigging the game against them, even allowing Republicans to win doing that. So does Bernie Sanders explain that? No. He attacks the Democratic Socialists. Because remember, CJ, they're playing a role. Look at this. I'll just read the first two paragraphs. I want to be a little fast on this part because it's not even the main point. When Bernie Sanders supporters, and remember, look at it. I don't agree with the framing of this story, but look at how they treat progressives who are taking on the Democratic Party, which is why I find it laughable to this day that Marianne Williamson was like, oh my God, RBN is being mean to me. Marianne Williamson supporters got mad because we was mean to Marianne Williamson, even though I was super nice. You guys think we were mean to her? Nigga, do you guys know what the establishment is going to do to you guys? Look at what they did. They destroyed the Democratic Socialists in Nevada. The reputation is destroyed. The leadership, friendships are ruined, and explain a lot of this in the stories. Bernie Sanders attacking these people. Imagine you worship Bernie Sanders. That's a hero. And now Bernie Sanders attacking you. That's what's going to happen. But they view RBN as the enemy. Just show how serious they are. Progressives across the country were thrilled when they took over the Nevada Democratic Party. Socialists have managed to bring down one of the most powerful establishment forces in the nation. The famed Democratic machine built by former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
Just clowns.
So I'm showing this because I let y'all know I do not agree with how I have my disagreement with the Democratic Socialists of America, but obviously I do not like the framing here. Because the framing here that they have is, oh my God, these fucking socialists took over and ruined everything. If only Harry Reid was in charge. But you want to know who accepted that framing? Bernie Sanders. Throwing them under the bus. The senator is pretty disappointed in Judith's chairmanship. Bernie is directly attacking this person. Judith Whitmer, the chairman of the Democratic Socialists. And she was attacked relentlessly in the media for being divisive. And to be honest, I'm not on the ground. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true. But I know what the damn fact is not true coming from the establishment. And they say, oh my God, Judith Whitmer is divisive. And they call her divisive because she criticizes neoliberalism. She promoting progressive policies. So that's why they say she's divisive. But Bernie is going along with it. So, and now he says he also disappointed around her failure to build a grassroots movement in the state. And then Bernie says, a lot of us feel sad about what could have been. Dude, Bernie is dragging these motherfuckers. But you guys think we're mean. He said it was a big opportunity for Bernie aligned folks in the state to prove some of the folks in the establishment wrong, and that hasn't happened. Bernie leaving out this part once again. And I'm sure there was a ton of mismanagement. Obviously, their strategy is incoherent. And this is why I'm doing the story to you guys why you can't take over the Democratic Party. But Bernie is leaving out the fact that the Democratic establishment rigged the game against them. Why is he doing that?
This speaks to, Nick, this speaks to what you pointed out to her directly. This is the cult of Bernie Sanders. Yes. He can do this sort of critique. They're just overlooking. I was looking over here when he did that, so I didn't see it. So I'm not at all going to acknowledge it. He does stuff like this all the time, and they just turn their heads and pretend like it didn't happen. But then if he barely says one word about something good, oh, did you see Bernie Sanders say this? And it's all over it. Yeah, it's like, man, this is so lopsided.
And I'm asking you guys, because you guys cover this more than me. You guys follow this stuff more than me. Is Kyle, David Pacman, T.Y., are they covering this betrayal by Bernie Sanders, other Nevada Socialists? And I'm asking you guys a question. I don't even know they're even covering this. Like, I don't even know they're even covering this failure on the Democratic Socialists in Nevada. Don't know they're covering it. And even they are, I promise you, they are not telling their followers what Bernie is saying here. Because they're screwing them over, not us. We're not part of this program. We're done with the Democratic Party. These people are following the Bernie model, and Bernie still threw them under the bus. That's what I found amazing when I did this. Now let's get to the main story, because that was a side point where I saw that. That was crazy. And that also going to lead to a story we're going to do later. Meanwhile, they're mad at RBN, but Bernie Sanders is not supporting Marianne Williamson 2024. AOC not supporting progressive primary races. And so I'm asking you guys, if these people are serious, which they are not, as I explained before, why are they more upset at people like Jimmy Dore instead of Bernie Sanders and Rashid Tlaib in the progressive movement that is literally throwing them under the bus? They are more upset at Jimmy Dore than they are Bernie Sanders. Deeply unserious. So let's get to the main story, because I want to tie all this together. I know my presentation get long sometimes, but Democratic Socialists swept out of power in Nevada. The Democratic strategy is taking over.
You have to take a breath. You're like, man, these are some clown shit.
Clown shit, man. Like, so RBN is the bad guy, because we try to warn you guys before these humiliating defeats of the working class happens. So as I explained to Bree in our long Twitter exchange, I'm trying to save the working class from another debilitating, humiliating defeat. Socialists in Nevada right now is being dealt a humiliating defeat of the working class in Nevada because of this. Look, this is just one story. Type in Nevada Democrats. Look at all the mainstream media articles about this, CJ. I literally had to choose one. I'm going to show you guys. All the corporate establishment, like, oh my God, the socialists lost. The socialists are weak. The socialists can't organize. I told you.
Meanwhile, Cy Hirsch drops some news on Nord Stream pipeline. It's crickets, but when they see the left fall down, they want to point it out and spotlight it, because the weak in the narrative of the duopoly has to be amputated, has to be weak, has to be fragile, has to always be losing, looking like clowns.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, it said the Nevada Democratic Party chair, Judith Whitmer, faced heavy criticism from a number of key figures in the state party and lost support from some of her former allies. Once again, talking about Bernie Sanders here. You see how the role Bernie and them play? Bernie and them come out against them, then me and say, they even lose support of Bernie. See? And then the people that was upset with her are the Harry Reid Democrats, who called them divisive because of their policy. Bernie doesn't explain that, though. Last one I read here. Let me share this. Now, look at the result of the attempt of taking over the Democratic Party. Harry Reid, the Harry Reid machine is back in power in Nevada.
Wow. Just terrible. Terrible.
So, for the people like Bree and others who believe that this strategy of taking over the Democratic Party is just, we're just doing this little innocent run. Let me ask you guys this question. I would love some fact finding on this. I need some. How much money and resources was spent to facilitate the Democratic Party's socialist takeover in Nevada? Whatever that money amount was, you guys just lit that shit on fire. So how much money, can you guys imagine how much money was spent locally to allow Democratic Socialists to take over Nevada? All that burnt, all that gone. Not only is that all gone, it led to nothing, and now the neoliberal establishment is more entrenched than ever. Because now the idea is, we tried something else. Now we have to go back to Harry Reid machine. All because of the failed strategy. You guys see how they're not just innocent misadventures of the boutique left. This is them leading us off a cliff. Now, any final thoughts on that? Because I'm gonna share the Bernie Marianne Williamson story, just because I don't know if you have more to share on this, but I would just go ahead.
Just one sentence. This is a couple of sentences. I can guarantee you that this takeover in Democratic politics in Nevada by this caucus, I guarantee you they weren't as engaged into the working class and the poor as they should have been. Because they could have withstand anything if you're engaged and you spread your message the way that Shamasa want. Because it's not more than just me. We're trying to get $15 minimum wage. We're trying to get the Amazon tax. So it's a campaign around the message. So for me, them losing power, is them not delivering, and Bernie Sanders is going to throw you on the bus. I'm trying to understand what is the good part in this deal. What is the good part in this deal? I don't get where are we getting a good part of this? Go ahead.
Every time I answer my question, if you ask the question, what do we get out of this? The only answer I come from it is the people who make the career from the Bernie industrial complex, because they benefit from this. They're the only one who walk out of the landscape. The people who are the people pursuing the jobs, the Nina Turners, the people running for elected office, the Maxwell Frost, and the media likes. They're the only one who benefits from this continued engagement of this strategy. That's why they continue to do so. And
right.
the reason I'm putting it right now, because speaking of Bernie Sanders throwing people on the bus, you would think you would see much more anger from the DSA style left over Bernie and AOC and the squad. For example, they broke a railroad strike, which should be like strike 1, 2, and 3, right? Where you should be going after them.